A lot of extra help given to Renekton in mid. Now you're seeing incredible engages from Summit in the late game. I mean, it's hard to pinpoint like one player is carrying this team. No, they're playing their composition so well. What a terrifying Live Sandbox we're watching right now.
Yeah.
Like, not just the state of the game, but just with, like, they don't make mistakes right now in this game.
Yeah. A lot of teams in the LCK are kind of leaning into that as a big equalizer. Finally, BDD is just going to go in for it and immediately die as he tried to do something. Maybe he could have waited for the Nexus turrets, but I think the result would have been very similar. As now they're going to be knocking on the door of this Nexus. They clear out the waves very well, and you see Rascal trying to find something to do. Prince will die. Just like that, you can see that Ruler is incredibly fed at this point in time. The rocket is not enough to kill him, but it will push Live Sandbox back and give Gen.G another chance.
One more chance is all they're going to get. 2 minutes to go on both Baron and Elder Drake here. About 45 seconds separating the two of them. But, I mean, Gen.G don't have any agency in this game because of the fact that there's inhibitors down, right? The fact that just so much vision control as this is BDD. Like you said, you wait for the Nexus turrets and the result looks very similar, but this actually buys time during an equalizer for the rest of the team to go back and lick their wounds and set up for that defense. We do eventually see, miraculously, Gen.G don't die here. They are able to hold on, but I mean, for how long is really the question, because you know, Live Sandbox have firm hold over this, every aspect of the map, and even Rascal has overstepped a little bit. They don't see him. Yeah.
He's going to get away with that, as they could have definitely collapsed onto him. They're just going to try to open up the one lane that they haven't yet. They're very confident to take this win in the team fight. Just take down the last inhibitor potentially, or even just the turret and go with that.
I mean, it looks like Gen.G might have survived long enough to get an Elder Drake fight here. That's certainly on the cards right now. Yeah, survives.
The flanking Rascal trying to come in, but Summit is able to hop away from that one. And the death sentence would have been exactly that, but he does have the stopwatch as the engage comes in. Nice counter engage. The Diana goes in, and they get the wombo combo. They get the backline. They fight Prince, but Fate is still alive. And now it's Summit 1v4, but he can't do it. And have they actually taken back this game? They need to potentially save their base. As Rascal's going to go back.
They have to make the call. Rascal's going to go back. They're going to group for the Elder. There's still all of the inner turrets up right now, not to mention the inhibitor turrets here, as this is actually going to be very frustrating to deal with. Rascal comes back here. The base will be fine. Is the Elder Drake enough is the real question. It gives Gen.G a lot more that they can do with the map. They can actually now clear some of the vision. They're the ones who are going to be able to make some aggressive plays now for the first time in what's been about 18 minutes. Gen.G will find one perfect team fight. Rascal starts this off, and like you said, he's not able to get the engage there on the Summit, but the re-engage is really where this all comes down. Rascal has the stopwatch, and you see a huge commitment in here from Fate.
Look at this.
But look at Set, okay? Diana Set.
It all comes back.
It all comes back to the Set, Valdez.
Yeah.
And the Haymaker here just does so much amazing damage in every scenario. It doesn't matter what the items are. It doesn't matter what the team fight looks like. If the Set gets the Haymaker and every single member of Live Sandbox, it's just too much. He's just like, this is it, right here. I mean, that's the power that we've been talking about the late game.
You gotta look at live.
Yeah.
We have the Baron going down here. Baron and Elder for a minute and a half. From Sandbox, we're thinking about pushing some inhibitors, but they're not able to. They're only gonna get this blue buff. And for the next minute and a half, Gen.G can do whatever they want. Let's see what they try to take on this map.
Yeah, I mean, they're still cleaning up from the lost inhibitors. A minute 20 left on the top inhibitor. The bot inhibitor comes up, so it feels like Gen.G is just surviving a little bit longer with this, because that team fight win enough alone is not enough to actually take the win. You know, the Croco was left up, so you know they decided to go for the Elder. They grab a Baron, but with all the inner turrets up, even with the game time nearly hitting 40 minutes here, you don't feel like Gen.G get another team fight win unless it's a full wipe that they're going to end this either. Like, it's going to take several more great fights like that, but this time, like I said, they have control over the map, so they have a lot more agency to initiate the fight instead of just waiting around for Live Sandbox to make a mistake.
Fate says, well, we can't fight them straight up for the next 30 seconds. He's going to leave the Kog'Maw in the Rumble to clear the waves, as he's not going to be able to himself, and he will split push.
Yeah.
And here comes the teleport, and he might be forced to come back if they begin to push the Nexus turrets. And that is exactly what they're going to do. They're going into this one. The teleport is coming in from the Renekton, but now Summit on the backside, they still have the Elder for 10 seconds. And now they're able to take down the Gnar, and in goes the Renekton. He'll be taken out, and I think Gen.G will be able to take this game down. The Elder is just too strong for the last 10 seconds, and they make it happen in 40 minutes as they make a huge comeback to take this series and continue the undefeated streak.
What a massive play from Clid there to bring this game back. The Diana ultimate is just what they need to win one single team fight, get control over the map, and force a defensive awkward setup there for Liv Sandbox between, on one side of the map, you've got Fate trying to split push and threaten the Nexus turrets, but Gen.G are decisive. They know they can push to win. They have the empowered backs on Baron too, in case things did go a little bit hairy there on the top side of the map. They were going to be able to come back, but they were just so incredibly decisive there. You saw Summit try to get the angle there for the engage to try to trap them on the side. Fate comes in with the flanking teleport. He has to come back and defend, but the Summit engage is poor. He's blown up so quickly in this 40-minute game. He's full build, by the way, mind you. It's a full build Gnar. Just instantly is deleted. The Elder Drake, not even a factor in how quickly he died. It's a 5v4 fight with tons of damage. And in one way, it's a really heartbreaking loss here for Liv Sandbox. But on another way to look at it is, Liv Sandbox have had two great series back-to-back against top teams here. And this is the Liv Sandbox that we said had a lot of potential coming into the summer season's potential finally being realized. And yes, game 2 was a bit of a wash. It didn't really get to play out that whole game. But I think if you're Liv Sandbox, you should be very proud, very happy with your performance tonight.
Yeah, I do agree. I think they've shown a lot in the last couple of series. The one thing I will say is that game 3, I think a better team might have been able to push the envelope about 10 minutes earlier. I think we didn't need to sit in that lull state doing nothing, letting your Renekton expire, and letting your lead kind of fade away and slowly allowing Ruler to get 4 items and get to a point where, you talked about this from the beginning, the Kog'Maw is going to get hard engaged eventually. He doesn't have very much peel, and that's exactly what we saw in that last fight.
Yeah.
There were ways to end that game before it got to that position, but they weren't quite able to do it.
It's crazy too because, when we were at that position, later on in the game when we were post 30 minutes, like Renekton, you talked about Renekton expiring for like the last 10 minutes, but he was already kind of expired against a team that has such hard engage defensively. Like when you look at the Diana, the set, if you do try to make that proactive play in their base, you don't have Baron buff minions, if you don't have that extra power to blow up a single target, the set Diana collapse back in and win. Like every fight Gen.G wins in that lull state is defensive. So you're so reluctant to actually press the go button and actually go in and take that fight. So that's why we had 10 minutes of nothing, because neither team wanted to lose the game on one defensive fight from the opposing team. And eventually Liv Sandbox tried for it and it did not work out. And we'll get to that replay eventually. This is the mid game. Oh, this was such an amazing moment for Summit.
Yeah.
Triple into the wall there, perfectly done.
And this is towards the end of when they are just the stronger team. They had the better positioning. I think we could have seen more fights forced like this when you have Renekton, Gnar, Rumble, and Thresh. But maybe a little bit too apprehensive. They were able to do it a couple of times here in the mid-game, and that's why they almost won. They got so close.
See, this is why, though. This is why they were so reluctant to take a fight, because look what happens when Gen.G say, oh, you came to us, you closed the gap for us, for my Diana, for my set. Well, thank you very much. I win this fight every time if you don't kill a target or two with your initial engage with the Gnar and the equalizer coming through. If you don't get a kill or two there, they win that every single time.
Yeah, Gen.G, especially at that point, as we're listening in.
Very loudly.
오케이. 빠져볼래? 넥서스. 앞으로 해라.
Oh, you could feel how hard that game was for Gen.G and how relieved they were at the end of it. I mean, yeah, Ruler ends up having the most damage in this game, but I was honestly torn between Clid and Summit. I knew that one of those two players was going to probably be the one to win it.
Summit.
Well, I mean, Clid, like if Gen G lose, Summit's 3-man was what got him to the point to actually get those objectives to win it. And so I was like already thinking, okay, if Live Sandbox wins this, 100% Summit gets a vote because that 3-man that Gnar gets was perfect. And then after that, right, it was when I was like, okay, well, Gen G win this game now off of one play from Clid. Doesn't matter what happened, basically anything for the first 39 minutes of that game. All that matters is when Clid actually is able to pull the trigger and win it on that defensive engage there. BD and Clid together.
Yeah, I think if BDD was stronger in the early game and didn't get so spanked, basically, I think he would have been my player of the game, but we didn't really get to see that because of the relatively weak early game. But he was able to shore it up in the end, and it really was a team effort there towards the end. The set Diana combo, it's just too much. You know, it all comes back.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, I think that might be a bit of a caster meme with you and I, but I love it. I think the POG is ready.
Yeah, we do have it, and it is going to be Clid who picks it up.
It has to be, right after his ultimate coming through there. Like I said, everything that happens in the early game doesn't matter. This gold difference at 15, negative 1,400, who cares? Because the Nexus difference at the end is all because of him.
True. Nexus difference in this game.
He had some pretty impressive plays throughout the early game. Like, he was not invisible. He actually did have a pretty solid early game. It's one of those fights, too, where you could see the power of the early Diana. And even without her items, like, because of her kit. But this is the one we're always going to go back to.
Right? Like how we skip from that, where they're, like, losing the fight into this. It's like, oh. He just won the game with this one ultimate.
Yeah.
That's basically why.
Exactly. Like, that's what POG means to me, man. I think a lot of people want to look at stats and score lines, but for me, like, if he doesn't make this play, we're looking at a 2-1 for Live Sandbox, and I think most of the, well, a decent amount of the analysts and Korean casters agree. 4
people voting for Ruler.
I can't agree with that vote at all.
Yeah, I don't really. I mean, he had a lot of damage, I guess.
I was the tiebreaker, actually.
Late game jinx. Thank you, Will, for shoring that.
If you voted for BDD potentially there too, if it was up to you, like, might have actually gone to Ruler.
Maybe. So, guys, we have the POG interview ready, so I'm going to hand it over to Ji-sun for the translation.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Ji-sun with the POG interview translation, and Gen G remains undefeated after a crazy series against Live Sandbox. I'm here with Rascal and Clid. Congratulations, guys. Thank you.
네, 오늘 승리하시면서 이제 오전 전승이
With this
되셨습니다.
victory, you guys are 5-0 here in the LCK. You're continuing your winning streak. How are you feeling, Clid? Well, to be honest, we thought the last game would be so difficult to win, but with that one-shot team fight in the very last minute, we were able to close out the game. I'm glad that we were able to extend our winning streak. And Rascal, how are you feeling? I think you have teary eyes. No, I don't. I'm just happy that we won.
그러면은 이제 젠지가 3경기 연속.
Gen-G
3경기에 레드
played
진영을
red side in all 3 games today.
선택하셨습니다. 혹시 레드 진영
Do you know how many consecutive games you played on the red side?
두 분 혹시 아시나요?
일단 10판은
Yes.
넘었던 것 같아요.
More than
네,
10
지금
games, right?
11번째 레드 진영을 하고
Yes,
계십니다.
you played 11 straight games so far. Do you think blue and red side has a huge difference?
일단은 저희가 레드에서
Well,
준비해온 뱀픽이나
we
그런
have a lot of
전략대로 가고
draft or
있었는데
strategy
또
prepared
그런
for the
흐름대로
red
잘 이기는
side,
것도
and we
있고
were able to,
짜임새 이렇게 잘
play
하다
accordingly.
보니까 좀 자연스럽게
So I think
그쪽을
we
좀 더
just
선호하게 되는 것도 있는
naturally
것 같아요.
got to
레드
prefer
진영
red
중심으로
side.
준비를 하셨기 때문에 그게 좀 더 선호한다 이렇게 말씀을 하셨는데요. 그럼 라스칼 선수 2경기
Rascal,
뱀픽 대처가 좋았다 이런 평가가
I think you guys
굉장히
had an
다수입니다.
excellent
지금
draft in
벤율이
game 2.
90%가
You
넘는 레넥톤을
actually
풀어주고
let
또다시
Renekton
징크스를 1픽으로
through and then
가져오셨는데요.
first pick Jinx
1경기 패배
again.
후에 어떤 뱀픽 수정
So
방향이
what did you
있을까요?
adjust after losing game 1?
루시안 벤을
The Lucian
하기로
ban
했고 그다음에 레넥톤 같은 경우는
was
그냥
added, and for Renekton,
미드에서도 대처를 잘 하는
I
편이고
think
저도
BDD and also
레넥톤을
me,
많이
you know,
하기도
we
해서
both
좀
know how
레넥
to
이해도가 높은
play
편이거든요.
against
그래서
Renekton.
레넥
We were ready to
상대도
lane
될 것
against
같다고
it,
얘기가 나와서
so
레넥톤
we just
썼던
told
것
them,
같아요.
yeah, we can just let them
그럼
take it
2경기 이야기로
and
좀 넘어가 보자면
deal with it.
2경기에는 14분에 7천 골드
Game 2,
24분 만에
you
게임을
guys
끝내
got
버리셨습니다.
so ahead and closed out the game
라스칼
at
선수의
24-minute
리신이
mark,
있었는데요.
and Rascal's
KD
Leeson
77
was the
2만
main
딜을
factor
뽑아내셨는데
indeed.
이렇게
7-7
파괴적인 힘을 보일 거라고
KDA
예상을 하셨는지
doing
또
more than
예상하셨다면
20,000
언제쯤
damage on
예상하셨는지
Lee Sin.
궁금합니다.
Did you see that you'll get so ahead in that early game?
제 기준에서는 조금
Looking at the draft,
불리해서
I thought
저는 그냥
we had a losing
천천히
matchup on the
하려고
top
했는데
and jungle.
미드에서 BD
But
선수가 상대의 갱을
BDD
잘 흡수하고
was able to
그다음에
absorb
바이게
one gang
쪽에서 제가
on
3킬 먹은
lane,
순간
and then the
너무
moment
잘
I got
풀려서
3
좀
kills around the Scuttle fight,
타임 캐리할 것
things
같다
are
이런
going
생각이
smooth
들었던 것
sailing,
같아요.
so I thought I will be able to carry my team.
이번에는 플레이메이커 스킨을 좀 안 쓰셨는데.
And this time
계기가
around, you
있을까요?
didn't use the playmaker
심심해서
skin.
될 때 그냥
I was
의심만
just like
하니까
bored. I
스킨 한
only get to play
번씩
listen, so
돌아가면서
I'm
하고
trying all the different skins and
스킨을
listen
별 이유
these
없이
days.
돌아가면서 하고 계신다고 합니다. 그러면은 3경기 이제 이야기를 좀
Game
해보자면
3,
리브 샌드박스가 거의 승리를
Leaf
붙였다고
Sandbox was
생각을
so
했습니다.
close to
혹시 역전하실 거라고
winning the game.
예상하셨나요,
Did you
크리스 선수?
좀
think that you'll be able to turn it around? We thought it's pretty tough, but we had this confidence that we can win the late game.
라스칼 선수도 예상을 좀 하셨나요?
What about you, Rascal?
저는 네
I am
재혁이가 잘 크고 있어서
because
재혁이 믿고
Roller was
있었는데
getting
태민이가
fed,
한건 해주더라고요.
and then Cloyd was actually the one, you know, sealing the deal. So let's take a look at the highlight together.
네, 이때 역전의 발판이 딱 됐는데 장면 설명 좀 해주세요.
Could you
이때
break it
상황.
down for us?
그때 저희가 좀 밀려나는 상황이었었는데
We were
저
getting
팀이
zoned
앞라인이
out,
한번 공짜로 좀
and
거리가
then
있는데 들어왔어가지고
Actually, the
세트가
enemy
이제
front
그러면은
line
공각이
just
잘
went in and
나와가지고
donated
들어갈
kills.
때까지
The set
맞춰서
found
들어가게
a
돼서
perfect angle to get on top of the back line, so we were able to win
이때
this team fight.
싸우시면서는 좀 예상을 하셨나요?
Did you
우리가
expect him to
역전하겠다.
go in this dip?
딱 제가 공 잘 들어가고
Once
난
I was able to,
다음부터는
you know, land my
한타
ultimate on
이기고
multiple
이길 것
players,
같다는
I
생각을
was
했던 것
sure
같아요.
that we will win this
예상을
team
하셨다,
fight.
이렇게 말씀해 주셨습니다. 그렇습니다. 이 장면을 통해서 이제 승리를
With that
가져오셨는데요.
huge
잠깐
win,
경기
you
퍼즈가
guys were
걸렸을 때
able
어떤
to,
팬 분이
you know,
화면을
close out the
잡았는데
game. And when we had a
2018
pause,
10번 이상 직관을 오셨다.
there was a
근데
fan
젠지
sitting in the
승률이
low
그때보다
park,
100%였다.
and she's
이렇게
been
취업을 잡아주셨습니다.
supporting Genji
그
since
팬분께
2018. She's
한마디
been at
클리스
low
선수한테
park for
부탁드립니다.
more than 10 times,
네,
and she
와주셔서
always had Genji
감사하고요.
winning the day.
그리고,
Any message over
다음에도
to the
꼭
fans?
연승 이어갈 수 있게
Thank you
꼭
so
연승
much for
성공하셔서 와주셨으면
coming out and
좋겠습니다.
supporting us. I hope you can continue your 100% win rate when you watch live.
표를 받으시는 게
I hope you can, you know,
감사합니다.
contact our
네,
team and get some
너무 기분
invitation
좋으실 것
tickets.
같은데요. 자, 이제
I'm
다음
just kidding.
경기는 토요일 아프리카전입니다.
You'll be
아프리카도
facing
요즘에
off
정말 매서운
Africa
상승세를
Freaks
보여주고
in this
계신데요.
Saturday, a
또 특히
team
라스칼 선수는
on a
긴
huge
선수와
up and up,
맞대결을 하게
and you'll be
되십니다.
facing
각오
up
한마디
against
부탁드립니다.
Kiin on the top lane.
긴 선수 되게 이번 시즌
I think
원래
Kiin-
항상 되게 잘하는
I mean,
선수라고
Kiin
생각을
has
해서
always been really
좀
solid.
이번 제가 잘 준비해서
So I think I
상대해야지
have to
좀
prepare really
될것
hard
같습니다.
in order
잘
to, you know, get
네,
things done.
알겠습니다. 라스칼 선수 한마디 부탁드립니다. 클리스 선수 한마디
What about you,
부탁드립니다.
Clid?
드레드 선수가 저번
Fred,
인터뷰에서
in the previous
이기신다고
interview,
하셨는데
promised that
한번
he's gonna
두고 봐야
win,
할 것
but I
같습니다.
think
그래서
you'll have to
아마
wait and
저희가 이길
see.
것 같다고 생각하고
I
있습니다.
think we're gonna
네,
win.
다음 경기 저도 함께 기대하도록 하겠습니다. 오늘 승리 다시 한번
Once again,
축하드리고요.
congratulations on the win, and thank you so much
감사합니다.
for your POD interview. And back to
젠지의
our
클리드 선수,
casters.
라스칼 선수와 이야기
Thank
나눠봤습니다.
you.
Thank you, Jisun, as always, for the great translation there of the interview. We have the standings ready to go after that game. Genji will remain undefeated as Liv Sandbox do drop to 2-3. But
Africa, man, against
Yeah.
Genji on Saturday, that is going to be a big one. That is going to be such a fantastic match. This season, how could it top last season? Like, how could the upsets continue to top? How could we see a crazier season than spring 2021?
I feel like we just took all the teams and randomly jumbled them in a random assorted order, except Genji remain at the top.
Yeah.
After spring rather. No rhyme or reason, but that's the way it's going right now. Lots of upsets, lots of teams on the up and up, and the strong teams are struggling to figure out, you know, what to do without the free wins that they used to get in the other splits that we have had. But guys, that was a awesome best of 3. We have another awesome one on the way. It is T1 up against Nongshim for our second match of the night, and that's going to be a
Don't
big
miss
one.
it. Yeah, I mean, we don't even have a long break. That was a long series, so we're going to pretty much jump right into that one in like 20 to 30 minutes or so. So, looking forward to it myself. Can Nongshim also topple T1? Would be a huge, huge win for them.
It definitely can happen. T1 looking to redeem their glory after the last loss to Liv Sandbox. But guys, we are first going to take the 30-minute break, so we'll be right back after 30 minutes. Welcome back, everybody, to the LCK Summer 2021. We're getting into our second match of the night. T1 up against Nongshim Red Force. This is going to be a big one. T1 coming off of a big loss against Live Sandbox, looking to reclaim a top spot here at the LCK, whereas Nongshim have been pretty consistent and looking great in Summer.
There's a lot to talk about in this series. There's a lot to unpack. The mid matchup, definitely one we're going to be looking at very, very closely. But this is going to be, I think, a very telling of where T1's mentality is after that big upset loss against Live Sandbox. We know now, based on what we saw in the previous series, that Live Sandbox is just in general on very good form right now. So it's hard to be as critical of T1 as you would like to be when you can see what they could do to teams like Gen.G as well.
Absolutely. I think that Live Sandbox, teams like them and Nongshim and KT, these middle of the pack teams,